It just keeps getting better and better. Apologies for this lighting here, guys. Uh, I'm about to go get a new ring light tomorrow. Um, it keeps getting better and better. The running back room is obviously much stronger today than it was yesterday, and not that there was a loss there, but the C.J. Donaldson commitment is probably the biggest of the ones so far because to me, I think there was some uncertainty surrounding him and whether or not he was going to actually return. A lot of people were getting worried. It's getting late. He had to have been listening. I've got feelers out. Um, actually, I've got responses here. One source from inside the Country Roast Trust told me just now, and I'll just say I just said basically, hey, is there any reason that this took so long? And the response is, Coos, feel welcome to jump on if you want to. No worries, man. Some take longer than others to get done. No particular reason for either. They've been solid with us since the end of the season. So probably a lot of our worries were unfounded, or maybe it was just my worries, but I think we've been snake bitten so many times with players that I say this coaching staff has built up, whether it's a Mesidor, whether it's a Tyke Smith, whether it's anybody like that, um, Justin or Jefferson, Jordan Jefferson, Justin Jefferson. Sometimes I get them confused. And they move on to bigger and better places. And so you think, well, CJ is the guy that really is primed and ready to take another step. I think he had a little bit of what you would consider a sophomore slump last year. He dealt with some more injuries. I do think there's a chance that he breaks out and, just when you're looking the other way and thinking that Jaheim White is going to be the best back in the conference next year, which I don't know if that's going to be the case, but the best back on the team next year. Let's just say that. And then all of a sudden, CJ's likely to do some kind of Ollie Gordon impersonation. So, I do think he's got it in him. Just think how many more years that guys, have than CJ running the ball. Jaheim White has been a running back longer than CJ Donaldson, right? So I just want to see CJ in some different. So now that we have a solid running back one outside of CJ, I want to see if you CJ as a drive starter, a drive ender, and I want to see him as that Swiss Army knife, kind of like the Titans used number 44 there a few years back. And forgive me if his name is slipping my mind, but they had a really good tight end that reminds me of CJ. And if somebody can remember his name off the top, that would be cool. But the Tennessee Titans had that tight end that had the number 44. But anyway, that's kind of how I see CJ in this offense. But overall, this is a big deal. Don't want to leave out Jacoby Spells, obviously. I think he's had time to develop. He obviously coming out had a lot of schools wanted him. He and Mumu both had a lot of schools after him. And Jacoby could have pretty much went anywhere, outside of like the very blue blood of the blue blood. And he had big time offers, but I think Jacoby Spells would not be coming back this year, signed to Country Roach Trust, if there wasn't a role for him on this team. So at the end of the day, I think these were both big signings. But obviously CJ is far and away the biggest, maybe of the off season. So get a couple comments. What's up, Markets and Moto? What's up, Silas? Channel member Silas says, huge. What a running back room we got, boys. Let's go. The trust does it again. Yes, sir, Jacob Yoho. Coos is he's got a show coming up right after this at 8 o'clock, guys, on something different, a different topic. So I'm assuming it's on conference realignment, but I don't know that for sure. I had a look in our we share a StreamYard account, and I got the chance to look, but I didn't really have time to read it. Um, Good to see you too, David. Good to see you too, man. What's up, Jim Pearson? J.K. Marshall, good to see you as always. J.K. is the king of one word comments and replies. It's usually thanks, but he hit me with a dude this time. Tyler Cobb, what's up, my brother? Jahim, yeah, absolutely. Jim Pearson said this is fantastic, and Jacob Yoho said we're starting to look like the Chiefs. Whoa, 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 whoa! I'll take it. I'll take it. um, Obviously, you're talking about from a depth perspective. I'm assuming, Jacob. Um, I do think we have multiple players in multiple positions. Absolutely. Would love to have some more depth at the wide receiver spot. If I'm going to be picky here. Um, but it's exciting, and David Cummings, what's up, brother? August 31st is going to be here soon, and we kept the core together. Let's go. Absolutely. They did it, and thankfully we had a good team. This wasn't a bad team last year. So keeping the core together is a good thing, you know. What do you do about retention when your team is bad? I mean, obviously you have to go to the portal then, and that's been met with mixed reviews. I think people are still trying to figure out what the formula is. One thing that we do know that works so far in this early years of transfer portal era, NIL era, is retention is key, right? Keeping your best players that know your offense and defense, special teams, whatever, year after year. Keeping those same players that perform well and trimming the fat from the ones that didn't. J.K. Marshall with 6 words this time. Certainly excited about the 2024 season. Just giving you a hard time, brother, buddy. Tom Romeo Jr., although my brain read that Tony Romo Jr. Frank Wycheck, no, that's actually a little bit. This is more along the lines of like in the last 6 to 8 years. But thank you for the comment, brother. Half my face just made it bare. What? Let's go Mountaineers. What's up, Paul? What's up, Timothy Green? I can see us going 10-2 this year. We almost threw the black hole. Yeah, man. And that's a good point, Jacob Yoho. We are almost through it. We're gonna have some more. I would assume. I mean, you can look around and see who hasn't signed yet. Um, Obviously, we just lost a couple last week, and those guys moved on. But at the end of the day, unless something crazy happens, tampering, or we just land some kind of big name that we weren't expecting to land that maybe shakes up the room, I don't see us losing any more starters. That's for sure. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes down the rest of the way. As far as I think we've got, I think we've got 6 visits left or so, somewhere in that range. We can have 6 people visit left, and we need to make all 6 count. Right? We need if we're going to bring 6 people in, we need to be confident we can land almost all 6, if not all 6. Um, and so because we missed on a couple guys this last cycle that I really thought we had a chance on, and unfortunately they went other places. So it is what it is with that. It's how it rolls. But we've still done well in the off-season portal, no doubt. But there was obviously the Minkins loss was big. Those guys moving on, even though they went to lower levels to play, um, I still felt like they were going to contribute. So we'll see. Excited for 2024, but nervous about all the SEC and Big Ten split talk heating up. Yeah, it is nerve wracking, man. And I just think it's out of my control, Tyler, and I know that doesn't give you a lot of um, you know, it doesn't help you a whole lot with it, but at the end of the day, that's just the simplest I can put it is it's out of my control, man. And I go back to some things they teach us in recovery, and accepting things you cannot change is one of those things. And I have no control over what the Big Ten and SEC does. I can fret about it. Uh, I can fret about West Virginia, but until those things actually start to go in motion, I mean, as a content creator, I want to talk about those things, but at the same time, I almost want to pretend like they're not there. Maybe I need to start doing more content on all this because it seems to be kind of the hot topic of the day. It's just not my wheelhouse, really. I mean, I could do it. Do you guys want to see me talk more conference alignment on this channel? I've thought about doing it, but um, I don't know. It's just such a, for me, it's such a, because it's not good for us. It'd be different if we were in the Big Ten or the SEC, or if the AC, or it just seems like anytime we talk about conference realignments, it's always usually seemingly at the, it's bad for West Virginia. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I mean by that. Um, I wish we were more confident in our position, but at the end of the day, I just don't see them leaving all of us out unless they go to another level of football and call it something else. But I don't know. We'll see. I think there's a possibility, Timothy. Timothy Green asked, "Do you think there is any a possibility we can get any more offensive or defensive linemen?" Um, as of right now, all the people this team has offered, uh, or that have visited have come and gone. And so as we get closer to the spring and this next window opens for the transfer portal, we'll find a little bit more out about that. And I'll have more info for you on it, Timothy. But as of right now, basically what's going on is the pool is so small. There are either really elite players in there that haven't made decisions yet, or there are just teams that West Virginia's not interested in for one reason or another, character issues, call it what you want. And at this point in time, there are no people, really nobody in the portal that West Virginia has either got a chance with or want. So as we get closer to spring, just like we had two guys leave, there are going to be other players on other teams do that too that are probably borderline starters for Power Five teams, or maybe even starters, or maybe they're backups that would be starters next year. And I think those are the kind of guys West Virginia is going to target. I don't. I mean, I would like for it to happen, but as of right now, I don't see us landing anybody. You know, like just where they're going to come in and be the best player on one of the groups, whatever you want to call it. So, um, if it's going to be offensive line, it would likely be center, um, or maybe somebody at backup tackle spot. We're pretty much set everywhere along the offensive line. Uh, on defensive line, it would probably be, name it, really, on the D line. Uh-oh. Sorry guys, my screen kind of went black on me there. Apologies for that. Um, so I think on the D line, it would have to be um, most likely in the middle at nose, because that's where we've had the most losses at. But I think a lot of people feel like Hammond Russell is going to step in and play really well. So I'll be interested to see how that works out, because I think Hammond Russell certainly has a ton of upside. There are other players as well that people have talked about, Sonny Redwood, guys like that. A lot of people have hope for. So we'll see. Appreciate that, JK. So we value your opinion on all this. I agree, JK. Regardless if it's out of control or not, it's still exposure. and spreading knowledge about things going on in the college sports world. Okay, well, I'll have to start doing that. It's one of those things because Coos is that's like one of the things he does a lot, and we try not to do the same content because a lot of you guys watch both of our channels. Now, he points out to me that if we do the same video on a topic, you guys are still want to know my opinion on it. But in my head as a content creator, I'm thinking, well, let's just say we share 50% of the same audience. I would say that's probably true, probably in that vein, somewhere in there. And he's obviously got a little bit bigger audience than I do. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, if he's already done a video on this topic, half my base is not going to want to watch it now. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Um, so sometimes I sell myself short with that stuff, I guess. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Jacob Yoho. As always, man, you always do come in here and support the shows, and it's very much appreciated, dude. For real. Can't wait to watch the brothers play. Yeah. Um, just clarify which brothers you're talking about. Are you talking about Hudson Clement and Murphy Clement? That is news. Probably do need to talk about it. Um, Thank you, JK, for the thumbs up. David Cummings, three guys had the GM on today, and he thinks very highly of what, excuse me, we have going forward. Yeah, that guy's Drew Fabian's has done a really good job, and certainly impressed with his what he's been able to do so far. I think he's alleviated a lot of pressure from the scouting end of things. Because that's one of the hardest things about the portal. There's so many players, and you kind of have to figure out who fits where. And certainly, I think that he's done some of that for this, especially this off season. So, yeah, Jacob, I went and watched some of Murphy's tape today. Certainly, I was aware of him. He's the best player in the state on paper. Um, is he the most athletic? No. Uh, Unfortunately, he's a little bit in a little bit of a Rodney Gallagher situation, where obviously he played quarterback, and where if he played anywhere else, he would probably play wide receiver. He probably could develop a quarterback at like a lower, like Shepard was looking at him. And you never know what can happen if you give a guy the chance to play quarterback. But it seems like he's going to bet on his athletic ability and try to play as an athlete, which is, similar to what several players have done in the past. An athlete is basically they can play anywhere. They can play defensive back, they can play corner, they can play kick return, they can play sometimes in the backfield, sometimes a wide receiver. So I think with Murphy, you look at him on tape. What does he do well? Well, he's got good vision. He's fast enough. He's not slow, but is he got extreme speed? I wouldn't say that either, but certainly he's in that 4.5 to 4.4 range, which is good enough. And what he does the best is break tackles at a smaller size. He's got good hands from what I can see on returns. And he really reads. One thing they did with him a lot was they played him, in the wildcat role, and so you get to see how he sets up blocks and how he reads blocks, and he does really well. He does get out ahead of his blocks sometimes. That's merely because he was such a good athlete, and the players he were playing with were just not as good athletes as he was, even though they were a really good team in West Virginia. So sometimes he gets out ahead of his blocks, but overall, man, I could see this kid being a really good return guy for us. And I'm sure they'll find a good fit for him, whether it's on offense or defense. I'm sure he wants to play wide receiver. But I personally think he's going to be better on defense. If I were going to bet, I would put him on the back end somewhere. But I had read that he possibly wanted to try receiver. So we'll see, but I think he's going to play on the back end somewhere. But at the end of the day, he's going to play somewhere, and I guarantee he returns kicks. He's too good with the ball in his hands. He breaks too many tackles not to. Don Johnson, what's up, brother? We do sign a few more good players. That would be great. But if not, I think we'll be okay. So I'm not worried about it. It's the best team we have had coming back along with the new players. Yeah, in a while since the Will Greer team that played Tennessee to open the year. I think that's the last time I thought we had a pretty good team coming back. Which of our new cornerbacks will have a breakout season? You know, that's a good question. Todd Dew 727. Um, I'll tell you what, and a lot of people haven't talked about this guy in a while. Um, if you consider Montre Miller to be a new cornerback since he didn't really get to play last year because of an injury, I think he's got a really good shot. He's got a year in the defense, and you go turn on that tape from when he was in the Mid American Conference there, um, and he is a dynamo, and he's a really good cover corner. He's long, he's lanky, he's got good ball skills. He really plays 50-50 balls well against bigger targets. Really bodies up big bodied receivers, and they do. There are big ones in the MAC. Mid American Conference has always got good wide receivers, and he played well in that conference. I think he's got a shot to be really good for us. But if you're talking about the new guys, you know, it's definitely between Aiden Garnes and T.J. Crandall. But I'll go T.J. Crandall based on upside. You go turn on the Colorado State tape, and this is a kid that has really, really good length, but man, he's got elite ball skills. He's got really sticky hands. Looks like he's played receiver in the past, possibly quarterback something. He's really good at reading quarterbacks' eyes and jumping routes and things like that. And he played really well against Colorado, and we know what kind of offense they had last year. So I think look out for Crandall to make a splash. Maybe not right away because he's young. I don't know if he's coming in January or if he's coming in the summer. But if Crandall has enough time to get ready, I could see it being earlier in the season, if not late in the season, but definitely by next year. Um, but as far as going for this year, I think Monterey or Aiden Garnes is because Aiden Garnes is more ready to play right now from Duquesne. He's ready to play right now, plug and play. He's got a ton of experience. He's also a really good player. He's really strong at the point of attack on the cornerback side when he plays corner. He really loves to get physical with the receivers and play press man coverage a ton. That's what they asked him to do there at Duquesne. Obviously, that's a lower level, but he's really good at getting his hands on receivers and within that 5 yard allotted limit, which in college can be iffy and not always spoken. Um, Really good at controlling receivers and rerouting. So that's something he did really well in college, and we need that. And to be honest, in Morgantown, because how many times did you watch the Jordan Leslie defense last year and say, "Holy shit, they're playing 10 yards off"? Can we please get somebody pressing somebody? But we were basically exclusively a zone coverage team last year. And no, we did not have a box and one type, like Alabama. What they have is basically it's a zone that can turn into a man type situation at any given time, depending on whatever option routes that the other team runs, right? So we won't get too technical with it, but so we didn't run that. We ran exclusively a zone, and I'm hoping we can get back to the Saban type defenses that do those kind of things. So hopefully that answers your question, brother. Jim Pearson, being over the scholarships will be interesting how coach handles it. Yeah, well, I mean, just think we lost two more guys last time, and we will continue to lose a few probably as the spring comes. Remember, you can, for lack of a better term, force players out now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen with us as we bring players in, or we need to make open spots, or sometimes you can move stuff. It's all based on like what time of the year. But yeah, I know what you're saying with the scholarship limit and everything, and they'll figure it out. Whether there's even some cases where people think that possibly they could pay somebody NIL in lieu of a scholarship. Sports On guy said Murphy will play safety at WVU. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I figure too. He'll be good on the back end for sure. Don Johnson said, I've lived in Martinsburg my whole life. And one thing I can say about Murphy and his brother as well is the moment is not too big for them. Sure. Yeah, they're definitely got that in their blood. TJ is a difference maker from Timothy Green. Tyler Cobb said we need to see more man coverages. A good quarterback are going to pick apart a zone just like Dylan Brooks did. You mean Dylan Gabriel, Tyler? Anyway, um, yeah, and also don't forget about Alan Bowman. He really picked us apart too, the Oklahoma State quarterback, and he certainly doesn't have a cannon. But Presley just ate us alive and really found a ton of soft spots in the zone, unfortunately for to exploit. So it's all good, man. No worries, Tyler. I figured you meant Dylan Gabriel. And we all make mistakes. There's so many names, especially in football and on football teams. It's really easy to get names mixed up. So, guys, don't forget to subscribe to Mountaineer Paul Talks Football if you're here for the first time. And don't forget to like the video. If you're here, if there's 37 of you guys in here, if you click off right now and hit the like button, give me a nice start on the likes. And also, like I said, subscribe to the channel if you can. It would make a big difference to me as we head towards 2000. Seems like it's been too long for that. And drop a comment below. Certainly, if you're watching this after the fact, it always helps when you do that. Always appreciate those kind of things right there. Guys, that's really all I've got for tonight. I want to talk about CJ and Jacoby coming back and being a part of Country Roads Trust. I think it's a big deal. I think CJ is going to be a huge part of this team going forward next year, and I'll be interested to see how he performs as a receiver because I think that's really what we need to get back to with CJ. I think we need to see him in some more receiving roles, and I'll be excited to see that happen. Thank you, Timothy Green. He said hit that like button, subscribe button. Thank you very much. JK said hit that like button. I appreciate that, guys. Really do. Thank you guys for coming in. Thanks, Coos. Appreciate that, brother. Coos from Coos' Corner will be going live in less than 30 minutes. I would head over to Coos' Corner. He's going to talk about the split. So, what better place to do that than at Coos' Corner? Appreciate you guys for stopping in. That's all I got for you tonight. This episode is over. I am out.